Hello, beautiful divine people. Welcome back to my channel. Today, I have some amazing things to share with y'all. I'm so excited to share this. These past few days have been so revolutionary for me, and I'm just so excited and filled with purpose that I needed to share it with y'all. So here I am, ready to share it with y'all, okay? So, I want to talk to y'all first about, give y'all a little update about what's been going on, because clearly I have not posted in like a little minute, right? Um, I only like to post when I actually have something when I actually have something valuable to share, when I actually have something that I want y'all to know, and sorry, there's a video in the back, but when I actually have something I want y'all to know about and that I feel passionate about sharing. Like, I'm only going to share things that I have experienced, and I'm only going to share things that I know to be true. Like, I'm not just going to share it to y'all while it's concept. So for the past couple of months, right? Since the beginning of when I made this channel up until now, right? I went from being homeless, staying at a bus station, to now staying with family members, right? And I really had just been working for most of this summer, right? So through me working, I am a type of person who needs to be spiritually in tune with myself. I need to have time to be with myself, to learn about myself, to expand and grow within myself. And a lot of times when I feel stagnant in that is when I am consistently interacting and being involved in like society's system, right? So for the past few months, I've been feeling very detached. Like, I've been feeling very depressed, very just like not myself at all, so miserable, right? And I realized, because I was still having my spiritual revelations, right? Like, me having my job, I realized that, my identity, I said I'm paid to exist, right? So me having a job clearly does not match me saying I'm paid to exist. And even the job that I had, it was not paying a high amount, right? That I know I deserve. So because of that, I knew that I was stuck in a certain density that was literally making me feel so trapped, and still I had to do it because it was for my family. And yeah, and there's a season for everything. So whatever I experienced there, like, I knew that it was going to be worth it, and it was going to improve my life in some type of way, and I was correct. So boom, now here I am, still living with my family, but I am not working anymore. I have sorted something out where I'm not working anymore. And now that I have not been working, like, I feel so regulated again. Like, I feel like myself. I feel like I stepped back into my power. And with that being said, now I will talk to y'all about the revelations I've had in the past literally like 3 days, right? So 3 days ago, I had this revelation, like a ego death, literally an ego death, where I realized that the world is literally built to make you forget your worth from birth, right? The society sets you up in these boxes, right? What's your name? It gives you these ground identity non-negotiables, basically your gender and your name, right? And that's how you are first represented to the world, right? That's how you're first identified in the world, right? And then of course, as you grow up, you start to hear other things about who you are, and it mostly starts with, like we all know, your parents, what they say about you, how they make you feel, how they treated you, right? If you didn't have parents that were speaking life into you, if you didn't have parents that let you know that you are loved and you are unconditionally loved, if you didn't have parents that made you feel unconditionally loved, made you feel deserving of everything you need and more, then more than likely you are operating from a place of insecurity, and you feel that you are not worthy of everything that you actually are worthy of, right? So to tie it back into my identity thing, right? Two things that society uses to identify you as soon as you come out of the coochie is literally your gender and your name, right? this is how we're anchored to 3D as soon as we get here. And I'm going to use the analogy of transgender people, right? This community is not a community where we are being homophobic, transphobic, racist, none of that. So I don't want to hear anybody dissing my analogy. No, none of that. I will delete your comments immediately. Anyways, yeah. So let's think of it when it comes to trans people, right? A lot of the times trans people are literally having to break that, what I heard a TikTok artist call a narcissism spell, which I think was a beautiful just a beautiful saying for what is truly happening, because it's really an attack on consciousness, right? And it's set up this way, right, to convince us from a young age that we need to seek validation from others, that we should put our worth in external things, and in how we look, and how much money we make, and the people we like, and on our skin color, right? It makes us focus on everything. It makes us think that we need to focus on everything outside of ourselves, right? And that's the narcissism spell. And that's what this person talks about in her video. I'm gonna go quote it real quick. Okay guys, I'm back. I had to do a little bit of studying because I remember the concept of what she was saying, but I needed to watch it so that I could figure out how I was going to articulate it through what I'm trying to get through. So I took little notes, and yeah, boom. So basically, this artist, this TikTok creator talks about what she calls the narcissism spell, right? So narcissism, as we understand it, is a person who on a superficial level, we understand narcissism as a person who thinks bigger than themselves, who is selfish, who doesn't care about how they make other people feel, right? And when you really think about a narcissist, these are all qualities that are furthest away from source, right? From what we are truly here to do. They need other people's validation. They are truly at their core insecure. So what they're actually needing is validation from other people, right? And that's how they get validated, right? That's how they feel. That's how they make themselves feel good, right? Their lack of empathy from other people, right? That's another sign that you're disconnected from source, because being human and being a part of the human experience, you would understand and know to empathize with, like, that is just a normal part of how we are supposed to operate, and lacking that is a severe sign that you are disconnected from source. And yeah, so boom, that is just the definition that we understand narcissism by, right? So for spiritually gifted people such as myself, right, I can speak only really from experience. So I'm going to use what I wrote down from what she said and also connect it to the points I'm trying to make, right? So she explained that we experience narcissism to activate our identity, okay? Your subconscious mind uses narcissism to literally awaken your spiritual authority. So when and then I'm also gonna add that you will not experience narcissism unless you have spiritual gifts. So that's why people who we call so-called NPCs exist, because they are operating from the same system that they grew up in, right? So that's why we'll find people stuck in old systems, who cannot seem to let go, who cannot seem to progress, who are judging other people. That's a clear sign of somebody who is under the narcissism spell, and who is not either hasn't activated their spiritual gifts yet, or just is not one of those ones who's going to have spiritual gifts. You will see them as oppositions all the time. You see it everywhere on TikTok. You'll literally see a video that you agree with or something, and there will be comments like completely dismissing it, even if it's the most logical thing, even if it has facts to it. You'll always find somebody. Why? Because there's just certain people who are born and put in this world. Their soul contracts came to this world in order to grow those people who have spiritual gifts, right? So boom, that's another thing she said, right? And the purpose is their narcissist's purpose is to separate you from your gifts so that you cannot create a world where people thrive and grow from within, right? So if a narcissist can keep you in enough confusion, and when you lack enough clarity, like when you are in lack of clarity, that's when they have you as their, that's where they are getting source from you, right? Because were able to get you to forget who you are. So I'm going to give y'all a personal example of how I experienced that, right? I experienced that with my mother. So grew up, of course, wanting her validation. She wasn't really around. My dad wasn't really around, right? My dad's a narcissist. My mom is also a narcissist, turns out. And yeah, they when I was growing up, of course, I didn't see any issues with them. Like, I was just, living my life the only way I knew how, craving their validation. And I looked for it in other things as well, right? I looked for it outside of myself, right? That was the biggest thing that was an issue, was that I was doing crazy things to get validation outside of myself because I didn't know how to get that from within. And I definitely wasn't getting that from my parents. So got a lost child out here who just needs some love, right? Grew up, started to actually gain my spiritual gifts and gain my spiritual purpose, right? And I know the exact moment when it came in is when I started having issues with my mom. Okay, she used to always, and still does, minimize how I feel about things, my emotional experience with things. Always tried to convince me that things that happened to me were, I was completely at fault, or I was the wrong one, even if I literally got completely done wrong by other people. She will find the one thing I did and make it about me, demonizing me for my sexuality, just a lot of shame that she put into me, a lot of shame, a lot of guilt, a lot of gaslighting, right? And that's another thing that, that the lady talked about. She was saying how these narcissists will literally gaslight you into thinking you're not good enough, right? And that's what she did. I got to a point where I was blaming myself for everything, and I was so confused. Like she said, I was in confusion and I lacked so much clarity, to the point where I had no idea who I was. I was so confused because on one hand, I had beautiful friendships where we had mutual respect for each other, mutual love for each other, both did things for each other, both, it was just it's unconditional love. I still have those friendships, right? And I was just so confused as to why my mom was so convinced that I'm this terrible person, and I believed it. I was like, I must be a terrible person because, this is my mom and she knows the most about me and she's older than me, so she must know that there's something wrong with me. For a long time I thought that there was something deeply, deeply, deeply wrong with me that I could not solve on my own. And that was the narcissism spell that I was under. And that is also what triggered me to remember my power, right? Slowly but surely, we're getting there, right? So after I had almost taken my life, that's when I did a complete 180 on how I felt about myself. And I really thought to myself, I was like, am I really going to allow somebody else to convince me so heavily of who they think I am without even allowing myself to give myself even the time of day to validate my own experience? And it really kind of brought me to a crossroad where I was like, when I look at the life that I experienced outside of my mom, it is sunshine and rainbows, and it's completely me. And then as soon as I get some type of talk with my mom, it seems like it's something completely different from what I believe about myself. So as you can assume, that was very, very polarizing for me, and I was very vulnerable to that type of thinking because, of course, that's all I had been taught when I was growing up, that I was not worthy, that I was undeserving. And that is the spell, right? So after I broke that spell, slowly but surely realizing who I am, and that brings me to where I'm at now, okay? For a long time, I have been performing confidence. I thought I was a confident person. I dealt also with a lot of relationships, which this TikTok creator, I'm gonna put her name up, but she also talks about how women will experience narcissists in relationships to awaken their divine femininity, right? And every single time that I've been in a relationship when I did not feel like I deserved everything in this world, that's exactly what I experienced, and it reflected right back to me, right? And like when I had my first real deep experience with that, in 20 from 2024 to 2025, that's when the first switch clicked, when I truly realized, like, wait, I am actually an amazing person and I am worthy, right? And after I realized that, I feel like I just told myself that, but I didn't really understand what it meant to be that. So I was secretly still somehow, or maybe I was just so deep in my hurt that I didn't realize that I was just projecting that as a safeguard, right? And after that relationship, I maybe talked to two other guys after that. And up until now, I had not talked to a guy for 7+ months, right? Totally fine on my own, right? So I was not thinking anything of it, but recently I've been met with a mirror of what I truly thought about myself. And I came to this, it's like I come to this tension where it's either like you're either going to have that breakthrough and freaking get past it, or you're going to stay exactly where you're at. And I'm going to get past it every time, okay? I'm a Scorpio rising, okay? I'm meant for this. I'm meant for transformation. And literally, I was smoking a few days ago, and I had the epiphany that, wait a minute, everything in my reality, if everything in my reality is truly just a reflection of me, and this is clearly not something I want to experience at all, then I need to look within and change myself first. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's just something in me switched, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like, I've been doing this all backwards. I've been doing everything completely backwards. Like, for so long, I thought I was confident, and yet I wasn't. I was secretly still looking for validation from others. And something about remembering that, it just really awoken something in me. Like something I had never experienced before. And when you're on a substance, like for me, it just amplified that feeling. I felt it in every atom of my body, and that freeness of remembering that I was whole as soon as I got out of the womb, right? And I will remain whole, and I'm always whole, and I'm always worthy. And I even thought about how I talk to my friends. I'm like, I always speak life into them. Like, I would never say to my friends or think lowly of my friends, because I just truly believe that everybody's deserving of that. So I'm like, why can't I believe that I'm deserving of that, you know? And to wrap it around back to my transgender point, because I did lose the plot on that. The reason why I brought out transgenders is because one thing about transgenders and gay people in this society that is hell-bent on keeping people from their authentic selves and keeping people self-hating is people would rather you hate yourself so much than just love somebody, right? Because these people, if they did not feel free to love who they wanted to love, then they would be depressed. They feel miserable. Most of the time they are miserable until they feel like they can fully express who they are. And that's a deep urge inside of them, right? So when I say transgender people, I feel like for them, they definitely are going through a spiritual journey where they're literally deprogramming themselves to what society has told us. Like from the fundamental point, I brought up the fact that the two things that you're brought in this world with to identify you is your gender and your name, right? Trans people are changing their gender from what they were societally deemed as, right? That is a big journey in this type of three-dimensional world. This is why you see so many people hating on them, so many people disagreeing with it, calling it evil. And it's like, what is truly evil about somebody literally wanting to express themselves how they feel, like who they are inside? Who are you to tell somebody that they can't love themselves how they believe who they are? And a lot of those people literally have to work through a lot of self-hate and negativity, constant negativity, and they have to build such a good self-concept and such a good understanding of who they are and what they're here to do, to the point where like they don't even care what people say. And a lot of those transgender people and gay people do build that type of, that type of identity. They're able to step into that completely, and they can validate themselves in that. My point is to say that nobody can validate you but yourself. And you have to. It is imperative that you know that you are worthy, and you have always been worthy from the moment you got out the womb until up till now. You will always and forever be worthy, and will always and forever be connected to everything, the universe, consciousness. And you need to get that embedded in your mind. That is a survival in a world where people want you to feel insecure. People literally want you to hate yourself. And it's not that it's because them individually is just an evil person. It's because society wants everybody to be fucking self-hating drones, so that, and it's to their gain, right? They get the energy from it. They get our money. That's the biggest thing that this world is on about, your money, right? And how do they do that? By convincing you that you have to work. Some people just literally don't want to work, and that makes them depressed. But like, working makes them depressed. But society says, well, I have to be depressed in order to make this money, because if not, you're not gonna. And it runs off of fear, and it runs off of your self-hatred. And that's what a lot of people are operating out of: anger, fear, and guilt, shame, sadness, anger. Like, that's what a lot of people are operating out of. And I have completely broken that illusion. And it's so weird because I've never experienced any other version of myself but the version of me that was depressed and felt unworthy of things. So this is definitely going to be a new journey for me. And I'm so excited to experience it. And I'm so excited that I get to share this with y'all, and that I have had this revelation moment that I could share with y'all. And I'm thankful that y'all joined me today. I hope that I was not just going on a tangent, and that what I was saying made sense. But if anything, I just hope that y'all can hear this. It doesn't matter if you understand it right now or not. It doesn't matter if you agree with it or not. I don't care, actually. I just wanted to help those who want to hear it. And if that's what I can do, then that is what I'm here to do. So thank you for watching. If y'all want to help me, because I am moving to college, I do have a GoFundMe that is going to be in the description. And thank y'all so much. Just your time here is valuable in and of itself, okay? So thank you. Bye. Have a good day.